$10 in seeds that he'd received were worth nearly $2,700 as the market soared. Isn't that the type of economic system that this world needs? One in which people are able to build wealth because they were kind? Ho, ho, ho! Merry Christmas, y'all. It's a rainy Christmas in Portland. This holiday season, I wanted to make sure you know about this way to build abundance yourself through giving. 5 years ago, I personally was at risk of eviction from my studio apartment, largely because there's so much discrimination in the world of tech investment. Over 98% of the funds go to male-founded organizations, and it's not getting any better, and this is something that Seeds is working to transcend. Because of that, I had to pour much of my personal money into Seeds over the years. Then, in late 2019, what were at that time the main two income streams for Seeds dried up simultaneously. It really felt like the universe was trying to intervene or something to teach me a lesson. And I hadn't been taking a salary from Seeds for many years. I gave that up to help reduce costs. I couldn't afford to both support myself, to literally pay my own rent, and to keep Seeds going without these income streams. Like a lot of women, I was so conditioned to put the needs of others ahead of my own needs. It literally didn't even occur to me to use Seeds to ask for help, even though I started Seeds, and that's the purpose of Seeds, to help people when they really need it. But I tried everything else I could think of. I didn't have a partner with an income. I came to realize that I really had no other choice but to use Seeds to ask for help myself. And one of the people who gave to that need that I'd shared was my friend C. He was the person that told me about clown, which led me to go to France to study it, by the way, which then led to my ultimately getting kicked out of clown school there. And C had previously received a gift from Seeds himself. C was facing financial challenges of his own, so he was quote unquote only able to give $10. But it's the volition rather than the size of the gift that truly counts. And as ever, those who help someone in need through Seeds receive Seeds cryptocurrency in thanks. His one-time gift to help me out garnered him $10 worth of Seeds. Just outside of a year after that, the $10 in Seeds that he'd received because he was kind were worth nearly $2,700 as the market soared. Because of his generosity, as channeled through the design of an economic ecosystem which empowers people to build wealth through giving, C received what turned out to be a significant financial return. And friends, no joke, isn't that the type of economic system that this world needs? One in which people are able to build wealth because they give? To be clear, past results don't guarantee future performance. My friend Seeds hit that value of around $2,700 when Seeds were near highs. And it needs to be said that in order for the Seeds ecosystem to thrive, we need to see people who are giving as well as adding to the Seeds mutual aid pool, which can garner additional rewards in the form of bonuses, free money and surprise airdrops sometimes, which can be literally life-changing, and also in earned fees. It also helps when people buy Seeds on the decentralized market. That brings value to the ecosystem and all who contributed to it as well. But most of all, it helps when you give. So fast forward to late 2024. Maybe you've heard me speak about the concept of the spiral course of progress before. A few years ago, I learned that this is actually the way that the solar system moves through space. It isn't only the planets revolving around the sun. The entire system is also hurling as a unit across the Milky Way. And I think that our growth as human beings takes on a similar shape. It's not a linear hero's journey like the narrative form that Hollywood films typically show. In my experience, we often revisit a progressed version of the same lesson until we've completely learned it and can totally move on. So for me, 5 years ago, I was in a super different place, physically, emotionally, financially. I had recently gone no contact or very low contact with my family of origin, which, no joke, was one of the healthiest decisions that I've ever made. If you grew up in a household with a narcissistic parent like I did, and you were the kid that was the target of that narcissistic parent, you know that that step is a really difficult decision to make. And it's almost always something you only resort to after you've tried literally everything else you can think of, often after periods of even decades. And that can only happen if the scapegoat kid is able to get the help that they need to heal. So if you were that kid like I was, I want to send you so much love and support, especially over the holidays. I'm hanging out with my dog today, and it's one of the best Christmases I've ever had. And also share that Vipassana meditation has been by far the most helpful tool for me when working to heal this. And there are free courses all around the world that you can check out. I'll put the link in the description. So 5 years ago when I had to use seeds to ask for help and my friend gave that $10 toward my need, I think there was a specific lesson that I had to learn, and a big part of it was about setting healthy boundaries. That was super scary at the time because I had grown up in a narcissistic household, so like that was familiar to me, and that meant that until I healed that pattern, I aligned myself with a lot of people who also had narcissistic traits. So I sensed 5 years ago that when I set those boundaries, the people that had narcissism in them weren't going to be willing to make the changes necessary for us to have healthy relationships and would probably leave my life. And that totally ended up happening. But I understand now that it needed to happen for their good as well as for mine. And then like almost immediately through establishing those boundaries, I cultivated a clearer sense of my own worth. I came to finally believe that I deserved assistance when I needed it, and so do you. So it was kind of amazing to see that as a direct result of being brave enough and humble enough to ask for help when I needed it, sharing something that felt very vulnerable. Like it was embarrassing that I couldn't pay my rent, even though it was because I'd been keeping my social good organization going for years and years after discrimination in the money system made that really difficult to do. Because I shared that vulnerability and asked for help, within 24 hours, I received this really generous gift that covered my rent from the Seeds community. And everyone who gave to my need received Seeds cryptocurrency and thanks. And then it was like the energies totally changed. I was manifesting on a completely different wavelength. Within months, I suddenly had greater personal financial abundance than I had ever seen before, like by a lot. And it was coming from sources that I never would have imagined. Free money and surprise airdrops because I'd added funds to the Seeds mutual aid pool. And then through Seeds itself, I'd started offering a new course now called How to Build Abundance in Cryptocurrency, and Seeds soared as well. And best of all, like all of this was happening as we were helping more people than we ever had been able to before. So then by late 2024, nearly 5 years later, after a lot of struggle and adopting a pretty humble lifestyle, I'd cobbled together financial independence, which coming from working within the biases of the old economic system felt hard won. But recently, as maybe you've seen me share, I was robbed of what was for me an enormous amount of money. It would be an enormous amount of money for most people. The funds that were stolen were those that I used to sustain myself so that Seeds didn't have to, and that I continued to put into Seeds when there wasn't enough sustenance coming in from elsewhere, which had been this affliction in the last few years because there were so many bad actors in the cryptocurrency sector that made it look bad to everybody, which made it a lot more difficult to share the message about how Seeds is actually using these tools for good. And y'all, it was one of the worst things that anyone has ever done to me. I have a lot of wounding about attack surrounding like my basic needs, being attacked so that my basic needs aren't met. And also we knew that this theft of my personal money was committed by someone that Seeds had helped. And just like that the purity of something like that would be attacked so viciously, just made me deeply grieve what it's like on earth. And then on top of that, when I reported it to authorities, it was so much effort just to get them to fucking respond to me at all. And they wound up wasting a ton of my energy and time and then ultimately did nothing. And the FBI agent I spoke to explicitly told me that they would not help because I hadn't had enough stolen. And I made a whole video about that. I recorded that piece of the conversation where I asked him literally, how can you sleep at night knowing that you only help the rich? And he hung up on me. So I was like, I was just livid. I was distraught and devastated and just livid. And all of it at the end of the day just showed me that new systems like Seeds to transcend the dysfunction in these old systems which are not serving us, new systems like Seeds are more important than ever before. So then suddenly I was going along this spiral course of progress and was once again in this position where I did not know how I was going to pay rent on the little house that I'm in. But it felt so much worse this time, and I'm still processing a lot of the emotions surrounding that. I've had to be very honest about some deeply negative emotions that came up because I felt hatred toward this thief and hatred toward these garbage authorities that literally told me that they're there to serve the rich. How dumb did that guy have to be to say that to me too? But I also understand that through practicing Vipassana meditation, because it's done this for me so many times in the past, eventually these negative emotions will clear and then like forgiveness will just come naturally. And then the energy that had been going toward that hatred, I'll be able to direct toward more positive things like helping to scale Seeds even more so. So because all this happened, because I once again didn't know where to turn, I don't have a partner who has an income or anything like that. I don't have reliable family support. I saw that the universe or whatever was nudging me to use Seeds to ask for help again. So I've done that. And I realized that the lesson this time seems to be more refined. I think that's what happens as we move down the spiral, right? This time it isn't about setting boundaries with my family of origin. It's been about other relationships that I knew had some elements of dysfunction in them that I needed to set boundaries around, but I just hadn't done that, in part because I couldn't see it until I'd like healed the other more blatant stuff before. And the impact of that has been far reaching for me personally, but also for Seeds, in that it made hiring software engineers super difficult. I don't hear female founders talk about this, but I have found that the way misogyny shows itself through tech also shows itself in the way that you can be undermined as a founder by software engineers who are typically male, but it shows up in people of all genders. And through getting a more nuanced understanding of kind of how these energies can work, how that wounded masculine can come through and take out ecosystems like Seeds that are about bringing a healthy feminine energy back into balance. Because I have that more sophisticated understanding through these experiences, I'm going to be able to more clearly see the people that are the right collaborators to help Seeds reach a level at which, you know, we're scaling so far that we can transcend the limitations in late stage capitalism, which is the ultimate goal. The vision of that is a world in which nobody has to work a job that they hate because they need those funds to survive. They can just use Seeds to ask for help instead. It'll be a more creative world if we have the resourcing we need so that we're not in a poverty mindset all of the time. These oligarchs will fall. Their power is dependent on the masses being afraid and being in a scarcity paradigm. And when we can get out of that frame of mind and we're healing and we're creating what we're uniquely meant to offer as humans on Earth, it'll be exponentially greater value created. And it'll be a much healthier, more nurturing economic system. And that is what Seeds is working to be. So I understand now that I need to be focusing my energies on finding the people who also resonate with that. Generous people who want to come together to transcend the dysfunction in the old way, but just haven't heard about something like Seeds existing. I'm here to tell you that it's here, it's functioning, and I am so happy that we found one another. So if you know what I mean, I humbly ask you to give. The link is in the description and you will receive Seeds cryptocurrency in thanks. Please also consider liking and sharing this video and subscribing if you haven't already. And then I wouldn't be surprised if this spiral course of progress keeps on spiraling, that we're all seeing a huge uptick in financial abundance in the coming months and years. And I think this part of the cycle could be even bigger than it was before. So I'm sending you love as we shift into 2025. I know I'm not alone in thinking that this is likely going to be a very transformative year. Thank you so much for your time and attention, and I'll see you soon. Bye.
Oh, Christmas tree, oh, Christmas tree, the puppy is a Christmas tree. He's a cute puppy.